Welcome to the Fred Olsen Tenerife Blue Trail, Tenerife, an island that's been pounded by the Atlantic for many millions of years. And it's a landscape that's harsh but unmistakably volcanic. 3 islands became one when Mount Teide erupted, and it has dominated the landscape ever since. 5 million visitors come here every single year for good reasons. Thousands are here this week for the highlight in the sporting calendar of Tenerife. The Tenerife Blue Trail Ultra Marathon, a race that will take them just about to the summit of Mount Teide. Race registration, a vital part of the process, many arriving days early to get themselves prepared for what is a major undertaking, Sangay Sherpa included.
I'm feeling good, very good. I think I'm better prepared than last year, and so pretty good feeling. Ride-run is very strong runner than me. We run several races together, and all the time he finished before me, and he has many experience than me. And usually I used to run every weekend, several races. So, but even I feel very good this year. So let's see. And other are very good runners from Spain nowadays. So let's see tomorrow.
Sangay Sherpa, one of the men who just can't stop racing. He uses that partly as his training, but there has to be a limit. And he may well find it here, 104 kilometers in all for the ultra race. And that will take at least 12 hours.
Estamos un año más aquí en Fañabé.
We're here once more in Fañabé for the start of the Blue Trail. The truth is that this race is a real challenge, and it's one of the most important ones that he's undertaking. This competitor's saying this is his first Blue Trail, he's looking forward to it, and he really wants to get running. An experienced runner says, you have to be patient. You know it's an ultra. Take it slowly at the start. It's a long, long night out there on the trails. Thanks for the advice, says the youngster. Well, there's always a fantastic atmosphere right the way throughout this running festival, but the start of the Blue Trail is different to most races. It starts at 23:30. They run through midnight, and it's much warmer this year, which is a good thing for the athletes. The cold and hypothermia a real danger last year, not the case this time round. Some 13% of the race is on tarmac, the rest is on the trails. And the most impressive stat is the amount of climbing that they have to do. They will go up to 3,550 meters, and as expected, Sangay Sherpa has started very hard. It's a characteristic of his running. He puts everyone under pressure from the start. In the women's race, Nadezhda Sumanina from Russia is here, very talented. Marta Mwixi and Lyra Martinez from the Basque Country. She is certainly one to watch, and she will go hard at the start as well. The support along the way, astonishing. And it will continue all the way through the night. By Villaflor, the climbing has already started. Taking on board fluid, essential. The early drink stations, there's always a slight sense of panic. Sangay Sherpa, one of the first there.
I'm feeling good this year. I think I can do better than last year, but it's not sure. I hope to do on the podium, but I'm here to enjoy and see so many friends, so many fans, and to enjoy the race. I like a lot Tenerife. I would like to do something better than last year. Let's see.
He comes from the Kanchenjunga region of Nepal, but has been in Europe for years now. Irina Guemba looking for a time of around 15 hours for the 104 kilometers. Lara Martinez wearing 21, and she seems to have found a pacemaker in the early stages, which is not a bad bet as they head out of town and heading directly for Mount Teide. Over 3,700 meters high. It's an astonishing peak. Villaflor is the start of the trail race, 64 kilometers. Yamil Molina saying, many years ago I had a dream of running this race, and now the time has come. She says she's super nervous, super excited, since for her, running is a part of healing for all the circumstances and problems she's had in her life, and she knows that her dream is about to come true. It's an energetic start as always. The atmosphere just raising a few people's hopes and expectations. In Parador, the athletes an opportunity to change before they ascend into the mountainous regions. And no surprise to see Urain Duran leading the way. He's overtaken Sangay Sherpa. Duran, who has beaten Sangay time and time again over recent months. And he's looking for his third successive win in this race. This is Pau Capel, who's racing the marathon race and is one of the favourites, saying Teide is the emblem of this race, and those doing the 100-kilometre race will get to feel it. Francisco Rodriguez, not all races go up the highest peak in Spain. It's a great attraction for the Blue Trail. They know it's going to be cold up there, so the majority taking the opportunity to put on another layer. And almost all the runners carrying ski sticks nowadays. This is Ion Aspiroth, who says that the most memorable, the most beautiful moment of his life was watching the sun rise as they went up the side of Mount Teide. And they're hoping for a similar experience today. The chances are good. Pacing so important. And the Ramirez family from Mexico are here again. This is Lorena saying she runs in her traditional shoes because she's comfortable with them. She's never fallen. She feels safe. Mario says he's really proud to represent his country, Mexico, and the Raramuri ethnic group, who are well known for their running ability. Step by step, stride by stride, they get a little closer to the flanks of Teide. They will climb to a height of over 3,500 meters. The air is thin. David Luzzardo saying every race has something special about it. With the Blue Trail, it has to be the climb up Teide, the highest peak in Spain. And that makes it an attractive race and makes it a very, very special race as well. The pace has slowed dramatically. And the heat increases. Rambleta at 58.7 kilometers is only just over the halfway mark. And Urain Duran has established a very solid pace indeed. He ran 12:57 last year, and he's well ahead of that schedule. He's recently won the half marathon des Sables in Peru, and that was over 120 kilometers, so he knows he shouldn't have too many problems with the distance.
On the summit of the Teide is absolutely magnific very beautiful, rocky, volcanic, and in the morning with the sunshine, it's very, very really beautiful scenery. So I like a lot in the summit of Teide.
And it's views like this that just give the runners that little bit of energy that's needed for the descent. Yannis Koikarikis from Greece saying all ultra racers are looking for a hard race, and this one certainly fits the bill. Starting at sea level, climbing up to 3,600 meters. Not something you find everywhere in the world, he says. He's absolutely right. And many will have bitten off just a little bit too much. But that's not the case for Laura Martinez. She says the big mountain is the area that gives her most fear, between 48 and 58 kilometers, and it's because of the altitude. She says she'll keep it under control, and she knows that there's still a long way to go once you've reached the high point. Well, she's not wrong. 2:32, Irene Guemba, still going well, but now over 15 minutes behind Laura Martinez. So the leaders have established a decent time gap, but they still have over 45 kilometers to run, predominantly downhill, but there's always a sting in the tail. Welcome back to the Fred Olsen Tenerife Blue Trail 2019 with a very strong field. Jure Duran leading the men's, the man who's won this event for the last 2 years. Remember the distance, over 104 kilometers for those doing the ultra. Some athletes still managing to smile. Most of them are doing the shorter races. There's a trail at 64, a marathon at just over 43 kilometers, and a half marathon at 20. Each and every route has its problems.
Questo percorso mi sembra veramente affascinante. Vedremo cosa ci riserverà.
Gagliardi saying it's a fascinating race. He's been studying the race, he can't wait to do it, and he hopes to reach the end with a little bit of energy left. He'll be the only one. Tony Pereira, what he thinks is incredible is running from sea level up to the roof of Europe and returning back to the sea in Puerto de la Cruz. It means a lot to people who live here in Tenerife.
El enclave es realmente precioso y
Raquel
creo que
Rivero saying this part of the course is absolutely stunning because you can look in any direction and see spectacular vistas. On the whole, the footing is very good. It's just the steep downhill sections where your eyes need to be on the trail. And as they get towards the end of the course, it gets steeper and steeper.
Y después la gente, una gente que
Capel
se preocupa por todo, como
saying that
podemos ver.
all those who volunteered really care about the details, and as an athlete you really appreciate all the effort that they put in. Pau running the marathon distance today, and he's one of the favourites, so we can expect to see a pretty good result. This is where the legs start to hurt.
Los voluntarios durante todo el
Jon
recorrido.
Asperoth, the volunteers that you meet during the race, the public, give so much all the way through the race. It's very, very touching. He finds it's very motivational as well. Well, after a good night's sleep, the marathon runners finally get their call. Starting at Aguamansa, even the best will struggle to beat 3.5 hours on this course. And the last race to get underway, the half marathon, another tough one.
Este año se han inscrito 1.200
Fernando
personas.
saying this year some 1,200 people from outside the islands have entered, 43 different nationalities involved, which demonstrates the international character of the event, and all the participants and their friends, their supporters can enjoy the island. One part of the course they don't enjoy so much is Asomadero.
Famoso asomadero que
And
la
Pau
gente
Capel knows all
tanto
about it.
tiene.
He says
Creo
the
que es tan
famous
bonito
Asomadero
cuando vienes de
that
fuera y
people
no
fear
puedes
it's
empezar a subir con esa dureza
a
que tiene
brutal
por
part of the
subir.
course to have
Y una vez
so
ya
close to the
coronas,
finish.
solo te queda bajar hasta meta, ¿no? Y tiene un poco de todo y eso lo
This
hace
race has a
una
little
maratón
bit of
especial.
everything, he says. And the leaders in the ultra have reached the Asomadero climb. Ure Duran making it look remarkably easy. Chased up the hill by Alberto Vinagre, who's had a tremendous run, but is some 20 minutes behind Duran. Sitting in third place at the moment with the demise of Sangay Sherpa is Jan Asperos, and he knows that not far behind him is David Lazuerto. And Sangay Sherpa was leading, now down in fifth.
It's very exciting because we are also very tired in the last part. Usually we used to run very fast in the first part because we are not so tired. So it can be make a difficulty also for the last part.
Well, for a man of his experience, you'd expect him to get the pacing right. Today, he's not done that. Climbing these steep hills is one thing, descending them quite another as they come back down towards the finish in Puerto de la Cruz.
Es espectacular,
Silvia
tenéis una isla
Pigano
muy
saying it's
bonita.
so
Hemos
spectacular,
pasado
so
por
beautiful.
la zona
We've
más
passed through the area
llana
closest to
de-
Teide, which is
más
very
seca, y
dry,
después una
and then we
zona
come
mucho más
back down
húmeda,
into the
selvática,
much more
los
humid
cambios
jungle
espectaculares,
area,
me ha encantado.
and she loves the changes that take place right the way throughout the race. She won't be the only one. The long descent punishing on already tired legs, down towards Rambla de Castro.
Canarias en su conjunto, toda la
Luzardo
isla, pues un buen sitio
saying
para
the Canary Islands as a
practicar el deporte,
whole are a
pero
fantastic place to
pero,
practice
tenemos
trail running
montaña muy cerca
because
de
the
la ciudad, y
mountains are
sobre
close to
todo
the
el
city.
clima es lo mejor
The
que
best thing
tenemos
is the
porque
climate,
podemos practicar
and we can
durante
do
todo el
these sort of
año.
sports all the way through the
Y hay muy
year.
pocos sitios del mundo
There are very,
donde lo
very
pueden
few
hacer en
places in the
invierno,
world
como
where you
podemos
can
hacer aquí en
practice
Canarias.
sport in winter as they do in the Canary Islands. The smile starts to return as they approach the finish of a very long day out. All the courses finishing in Puerto de la Cruz, and they know that they have some reception waiting for them. The half marathon this year is won by Yol de Paz. Marta Perez taking the women's title, both producing record times. Pau Capel and Abella Castellana win the marathon event, 3:28.57 the best time, and Albel Carretero and Silvia Pagano taking the trail race just over the 6-hour mark.
La verdad que me lo pasé genial.
Yol de Paz, winner of the half marathon, saying he had a great time. Race was brilliantly signposted and the crowd's unbelievable. It was a fast race, he says, and that surprised him. A little bit technical in the finish.
Muy contenta, el recorrido muy verde, ha llovido, había barro,
Marta
había
Perez,
zonas de
the route
correr muy rápido,
was green. It had rained more than she was expecting, but she thought the running was pretty fast.
Para pasárselo bien, genial.
Great day out.
Bueno, lo bonito de esta carrera también es la llegada, ¿no?
Hakapel winning the marathon. He says the most beautiful part of this race is the finish line. I think all the runners suffer a little out there on the trails, but the cheering of the spectators is something else. About Castellano, she says the truth is it wasn't that difficult, although in the last part she didn't expect the steep slopes. Abel Carretero saying he was thinking of doing 6:40, 6:45, but he produced a time of 6:18, winning the trail. And Puigano, winning the women's trail, said that she knew from 50 kilometers there'd be some big climbs, and she was ready for that, and she just wanted to make sure that she could run when she reached the flat section towards the end. And she put in a tremendous time, 7:24.32 for the 64 kilometers. But the man of the day, without a doubt, Juraj Duran, for the third year in succession, winning the Blue Trail Ultra, 11:48.09, smashing his own record for the course. Albota Vinagre has done well, he stays in second, and David Lazarte coming through in the closing stages. Lara Martinez pretty much led from start to finish, 14:36 her time, finishing ahead of Marta Mwixi, who was just 12 minutes behind after a long day out in the hills. And Irene Guemba, 15:23. Lots of records going today. Juraj Duran's the most impressive. He says no Blue Trail has ever been easy, but this time round it was particularly difficult. He says his form isn't particularly good, and the level of racer has definitely gone up. This year, of course, it's a tough test because it's part of the Spanish Cup, and many quality racers have turned up as a result of that. Lara Martinez, she said she is continually surprised by this race. She says it's beautiful at night when you start. Teide with the volcanic rock is also great, but her favourite part of the island is the northern area, which is so impressive, despite the fact that they had a lot of rain there this year. 2,700 athletes involved this year, including a number of disabled athletes, and really nice to see Lorena Ramirez cross the finish line, looking very fresh. And 9 times finisher, Jose Antonio Gonzalez, saying he was losing it in the closing stages, and he needed help from a fellow runner. That runner was Oscar Dorta. He says it was great to cross the line together, and a real honour to do it with someone who's completed 9 Blue Trails. That is the spirit of the Tenerife Blue Trail.